Casting staff or directors in general, how awkward is it to hire people for unattractive characters as in their whole role as being fat or ugly?
I've been a professional actor for over 20 years and I can say, not awkward at all. If you have an interesting look and you have signed up for and showed up for a casting, you know the deal. Ugly actors aren't less smart or self-aware than good-looking ones. For example, little people or dwarfs, they get into acting knowing that they will more likely be an elf in a Christmas special than end up like Peter Dinklage, but they want to act regardless. Bottom line? We are all too needy and self-obsessed to feel awkward, even the ugly ones.
David Harbour from Stranger Things auditioned for the role of the Blob in one of the X-Men movies and was told he was too fat.
I've thought about this a lot. Especially with kids. The little girl in Desperate Housewives who was the fat kid, Eva Longoria's character's kid, pretty sure that was her storyline. How does a small child grow up with self-esteem when what she is known for is being the fat kid on that TV show?
I read that the actress that played Dolores Umbridge was told by friend, "OMG, you would be perfect for that role." And then she read that Umbridge was described as toad-like in the books and was like, wow, thanks.
I knew a male actor, haven't seen him in years though, who is always typecast for certain character roles because of his distinctive looks. He's had a pretty successful career, but when he told me about his work and different roles, I couldn't help but notice that he carried a certain sadness about not being the heroic figure that everybody loves. He had come to terms with his predicament. Him becoming an actor was in part a reaction against being an outcast and being bullied, but there was still a longing to be beautiful, loved and admired.
Not quite the same thing, but I saw an advert where they were looking to film in a bedsit, so I got in contact and the location scout came around to see my place. The film was the low-budget drugs drama London to Brighton, and they wanted a bedsit for where the two lead characters lived, who were both heroin addicts and living in abject misery without a penny to their name. They didn't use my place in the end, but the location scout did say it was almost perfect. The only problem is that it's too small. Which made me feel really great about where I lived back then, I can tell you.
TV ugly is not the same as actual ugly.
I was watching the Curb Your Enthusiasm episode where Larry thinks he's being sat in the ugly section in a restaurant. I was wondering how those actors felt knowing that they were being cast to be the people in the ugly section.
To actually answer the question that nobody has directly, not awkward at all. People will absolutely jump at the chance to be the ugly one. They don't really care. It might be awkward mentally for them, maybe, but it's nothing personal and they know it. Just another job opportunity. Like a classic meme goes, if someone paid you $200 but had to call you ugly, would you take it? Of course, I'm ugly. Not stupid.
I spent a few years in LA going to auditions. Some of the roles I got cast in include overweight jogger, fat guy with beard and guy waiting in line for donuts, which was actually not a specifically fat guy audition, more a hipster, which was also a lot of the roles I went out for. It wasn't that awkward. And I got to know a lot of dudes who kind of look like me just from seeing them at the same auditions. Most awkward audition was for a Polish tire commercial where I had to be topless.
I wanted Mary Ann on Gilligan's Island, ugly. Not Cornelius on Planet of the Apes, ugly. TV ugly, not ugly ugly.
Fat Neil? Neil is fine. Is it?
Puts on glasses, behold, the ugly.
I work at a theater school. The acting students are typically striking looking in some way. Strikingly beautiful, strikingly gaunt, strikingly unsettling, strikingly kind. The fat students are usually a bit big but also very strong and agile. The ugly students are ugly in a unique and interesting way, not merely less attractive than their peers, but positively more ugly. They're both the same distance from plain, but in different directions. This is usually a selling point for them, and they know it. Someone who looks fat and lazy but has the stamina to perform all day is an absolute prize. Someone whose selling point is his train wreck of a face knows exactly what he looks like, and in conjunction with his performance skills, has a very sellable product. Remember that most roles have an audition process. You subscribe to, or ask your agent to keep an eye out for roles you are confident you can play. Most actors aren't after a Juliet, a Hamlet. They are after roles that fit their description and skill set. Short, plump ginger-haired woman with a maternal smile in her late 40s is a role certain actors will find and send in a headshot for, just like Hispanic, unattractive, 50-plus pounds overweight man, lazy eye or missing teeth desirable will catch the eye of others. You apply for the roles. Professional actors are confident self-starters after a job that pays, that gets them seen, that lets them show off their range, so as to continue building their career.
Attractiveness is so much about behavior, posture, styling, etc. Successful actors often cast in unattractive roles usually look totally okay in real life.
There's a model agency in London called I Imagine everyone involved knows what's involved. More generally, by the time they leave acting school, most actors will have figured out whether they are going to be playing Juliet. Fat people know they are fat. They move forward, or not, on that basis. I imagine it is a bit like playing bad guys. You want to tell the story, so you play the role that the stories demand. In some cases, an attractive person will be made ugly by using makeup and/or prosthetics. If you have to, you could do the same with an ugly person to save their self-esteem.
I mean, Joaquin Phoenix is a handsome man. Except when he's not. Commodus, I'm talking to you.
Ugly people who become actors have transcended attaching their ego to their appearance.
I'm pretty sure Casper Van Dien and Denise Richards were both cast in Starship Troopers specifically because they were conventionally physically attractive but also clearly dead behind the eyes. I wonder if they ever realized.
Former casting director in *** Hollywood for 13 years, HBO, Netflix, and every major network *** plus some international commercials. It's not awkward at all. It's a business like any other business, and every role has a place and is extremely important. The actors all know that. I've never had a single actor not really want a part. They all know that any role can be a huge career booster at any level, so be it for commercials, music videos, TV shows or film, all of which I cast. They 1. Were stoked on the money and 2. Knew it could be a great opportunity to do what they loved, make great connections on set, leads to more roles, and take their career to the next level. I'll add that the breakdown for a role, aka Hollywood term for job listing, never says ugly. Like every business, Hollywood has its own vocabulary. And as others have pointed out, Hollywood ugly is not everyday life ugly. If you think about it, any ugly actor always has some really specific character traits that mock them who they are: funny, charming, devious, conniving. So the actor needs to have those, act them well. AKA it's rarely just about their looks. A role might be listed as age, 50s to 60s, character actor, quirky, fun-loving, a whole lot of other descriptors, along with a 3-line summary of key traits, context. All professional actors know what that means, and all that audition are there because they want to be. It isn't a bait and switch. There are no surprises. Overwhelmingly, almost all actors of cast were an absolute joy to work with, a solid 98%. * only about 2% were not. Some of those you've seen in the press, *. And they absolutely would come back for repeat roles even if character roles. I always treated every cast member with great kindness and respect, regardless of how they looked, because I knew the value that each one brought. I was always very grateful for their hard work because they made the whole project come together, and that made everyone happy. Adding a *** whole. Lywood, ugly, fun fact ***, typically where networks drawn the line is ***teeth***. That's right. It's kind of a known joke. NBC, ABC. You name it, a person could be missing a limb, hair, appendages. Not a problem just as long as they have all their teeth. That's where they drawn the line. It would appear that for Americans at least, it's the one thing that makes people actually change the channel.
ITT. Not a single casting director.
Like beans from Even Stevens.
Ron Perlman talks a lot about it in his book.
May your day be filled with joy and happiness. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more quality content every day.